What's up, Liron here, and in this video we're gonna paint against the light. And what's beautiful about painting against the light is that it unifies all the shapes. Because the light, the sunlight is so strong, all of the shapes in front of you become this beautiful hazy big shape that merges everything together, turning this scene into a rather simple one. It's not going to be necessarily easy, but I do think it's a good one for beginners to tackle. If you just focus on the different shapes of value, you will get it. Okay, so let's get started. So the sketch, and what I love again about painting against the light is, notice how simplified it is. I'm barely gonna need anything. So here is the main building. It's about the center of the painting, which I'm fine with because this is an L composition again. And then around the middle it goes like this. There's this secondary building. And from here there's this beautiful shape. It kind of goes back around, creates another group of buildings here. One of them is really unique, but we're not going to get into the details here because there isn't enough room, and I don't have interest to put in details this far from our view. Now next up we have the horizon line, which I didn't add yet. It's about a quarter down. Now the reason it's significantly low, I'm going to do it even lower probably, or let's go with, I don't know, about a quarter, a bit under it, is whenever you want to show something that's very high up, you need to have the horizon line lower because you're looking at it from a lower point of view. The more we go up, the less we'll see of this building. So you want to put this a little, sorry, it has nothing to do with the point of view even, it's just a crop of the painting. If you want to show this building, you have to place this lower. If you'd have moved it, the whole thing would have moved there. So this is basically it for almost the entire thing. I'm just going to drop some perspective lines. The vanishing point is here. And then everything goes out of that. The zebra stripes, they go kind of around here. I try not to connect anything to the point, to the corner of the paper. And it's fairly thin because we're looking at it at an angle. So here we go. And if you want to show the actual stripes, you'll go like this and just adhere to this vanishing point like that. Just keep sketching them out. We can later better define them. There's a bunch of cars here that will be more defined by the highlights on them actually. And then we have the street itself. So here we go. A bunch of cast shadows. The curb, sorry. And then all the cars. So the car number 1. Let's do one here and then one a little behind it here. We have the front of the car. I'm going to keep this so simple and we'll see how it goes. I don't know. Then we have this part. We have the windshield. We have a highlight above the windshield. It's going to be a little clunky, but bear with me because I'm trying to figure out how I can really simplify. And then the shadow under it. Here we have another car a bit closer. So this one goes like this. Top part with the windshield. Then the engine area, then the front of the car, then the side of the car. There's another smaller car here, and this goes on and on and on, all the way to the back. We won't have enough room for all the details, but I do want to make sure I get the shadows in nicely. There's a person here. He doesn't play any important role, so I'm going to move it here. Now here is going to be our dude. And this is just one of the many changes you can make when you're painting, even on location or wherever. He has a backpack that's very distinct. We're gonna get that. Hand goes forward, and hopefully we got something interesting in. Shadow casting towards us, pretty much. You could add a bit of guidelines just to get the windows in, but you don't even have to. This goes here, this goes there, that's the side of the building. There's barely gonna be any details here, so so it doesn't really matter. The shadow is coming all the way down here, in fact, so we can get rid of all of these lines so that they don't confuse us. And this is pretty much it. Let's get started. Let's paint this. So as you know, I'm a big fan of never cleaning my palette, which is fun because I can use all the beautiful grays that I'll get here, very natural grays too. We're gonna start this from the top to the bottom. I barely have an angle and I like it that way because I don't need it. I'm gonna hold the paper up later on, but in any case, I'm gonna start here around the sun. It's a very strong sunlight, so it's completely white. And then Gonna add a bit of blue around it, and obviously we're gonna have to blend it in. So here we go, just a bit of making it softer. I'm coming back with a damp brush and just softening the edge. Now we're gonna add a bit more blue here just to make it even darker. This building, we're just gonna cover everything up. Doesn't even matter. We're just gonna cover the whole thing up with this nice little blue. It's a phthalo-ish blue. No highlights, no nothing. Now, as we move to around the center, we're gonna start warming it up. So I have a bit of ochre here, this kind of a yellow, and then a bit of this more cadmium happy yellow. We'll start by merging them together. We'll get a bit of a green, and I'm fine with that. But then we'll go a little pure, you see? So here we go. Sometimes I like to add to that, I'm going real extreme here, I'm going really yellow. Sometimes I like to add in a bit of red near the bottom, just to have all primary colors showing, so I may do that here as well. I don't know why my computer locked, because now I don't see the reference, and I like to refer to it. Here we go. I could leave all of these highlights white. Let's do that. Let's, instead of covering the whole thing up, let's leave a couple of white highlights. I usually don't do that, but let's do it this time. Maybe not all, but some of them. I don't know. We'll see about that. I may decide not to later, and it's fine because this is super wet, so I can practically make any change I want. So here we go, around here. I'm gonna leave the zebra stripes for now. I'm not gonna do anything with them, but I think with that we're pretty much done here. I could come back and soften this edge a bit more, but not too aggressively, just a bit. Here we go. I want to add a bit of blue because that car is really blue. Let's do that. A bit of blue, and I'm just touching. You see, and I let the paint do what it does. I'm gonna move it just a bit. And then let's go with this very striking red. Let's have this car red. See, it doesn't even matter really what happens at this point. The paint's gonna blend together, it's gonna create interesting effects. I lost some of the highlights and I'm fine with that, but it will be important because it will lead to some interest here. So let's blend this in into the environment. Let's get rid of this. Let's get rid of this highlight here. And we're pretty much good to go. I'm gonna let it dry and then come back. So the first layer is dry, and I wanna show you the beauty of allowing the paints to run. It's just very important, if you can, to give this a try. Put in the red, let it blend. Put in the blue, let it blend. Let everything kind of blend together. You can learn with time how to better control it, and it will improve, okay? But if you can give it a try, at least you'll see if you like it. You like it. So now time for the next wash. This is where all of this gray mix comes to play, and it's really beautiful because it's a combination of so many different things, and it will work out perfectly. Now here's the thing, it can be very tempting to start really dark on these buildings, but I would actually urge you to not go as dark, especially up top, because it may seem like a fairly dark building, and compositionally speaking, that won't be to our benefit. What you want to do is make sure you leave some lightness, especially at the top, so that the bottom can get darker. Now there is the issue of windows, and I think I'll try and preserve some of them. We'll see how that goes, but I need a lot of paint and a lot of water for this, so slowly but surely we're getting our mix ready, and I think now we can start painting. So I'm gonna start, just want to make sure I get everything right. So here we have this area that's fairly dark, and then we're starting to look at a row of windows. So let's do this kind of thing. Here it's gonna be completely dark, but here I'm gonna start looking at the windows, and these obviously don't have to, and they will not be perfect, and there are other ways of simplifying them, but I choose to show them, I guess, more obviously, and that's fine. So here's a bunch of windows on the side of the building, a bunch of windows on the side that's facing towards us. I'm going to inject some more paint in. I want this to be darker, and then have the shape of the windows cut through. So this will at least give us something, some kind of a detail to look at when it comes to the building. Now what you can do, if you don't want it to be too striking, and I'll probably go back and darken these up, but you can just go over some of them with water, kind of allow them to blend in, or you could use a spray gun, let me show you that, to just help them move a bit. So I go like this, and you see how it becomes a little more blended. So we still get the beautiful effect of details, but we didn't have to compromise with too many harsh lines. Now you see here how it bled into the sky. I'm actually fine with that, and this is what I call really a happy accident, because here it will be to our benefit. The top part, again, I want to remove the viewer's attention from there to some extent, because I want them to focus down here. So this will be a great way of doing that, by blending that edge. And I could have fixed that if I wanted to, but luckily we won't need to, because that's a really nice little effect. Sometimes I'll do it on purpose, but now honestly I wasn't planning on doing it, and it just kind of worked out perfectly for me. So here we go, we'll continue down here. This is where things get fairly dark, so you want to make sure you push it to be as dark as necessary. I'm going to put in a bit of red, just to hint that maybe there's an awning or a storefront here. That could work out really well too later on. Kind of like that. Now I will finish this section and then move on to here and lighten it up a bit, because these are farther away and I want to enhance the sense of depth. So even though the value is similar in the reference photo, I'm going to ignore that and just do my own thing. That's sometimes a really good idea. So there's the person here. I'm going to try not to overwork the shape around him. I tend to do that, and I have a lot to learn when it comes to putting people into my cityscapes and landscapes. That's something I'm still working on. Now around the cars, and I'll probably connect some of the shadows to the cars later on, but first I want to work my way around them. This is really important, the tops of the cars. Now as I move to the right, I'm going to just add some more water and lighten it up a bit. And if you can lighten it up gently, that'll be good. So I wet my brush and then I wiped some of it on the towel, and now I have a wetter mixture, and that actually works out really nicely here to close off this building, and it gets lighter. And here I want to really lighten it up, so just water, barely paint, and we're just going to help the paint move along the right side, and that's pretty much it. Too much water on the brush. Got rid of that. So this is essentially one big shape, and I didn't mention this before. This was my intention, to have it as one big shape. This I don't want to overwork, but here let's just add a bit of that. Now we can start merging that with the cars. So the window of the windshield of one of the leftmost cars, I have to make sure I mix the right thing here. Let's add blue, because the car is obviously blue, and get this connected here. And then here you have to be careful, because now the shape actually matters, and this connects to the front of the car. Let's cut through here like this. Front of the car, a bit to the side too, but mostly the front. And here I just have to get the shape of the tire and the bottom part right. So here we go, bottom, shadow, tire, shadow closes off, and we got this first car in. Like so. Window to the side. Now here we have another one behind it, so let's get that in very gently as well. And now for the front car, here I have to use a lot of red and hope for the best. So this is what we're gonna do. This is, the windshield itself is really dark, so a lot of blue too, but here I'm gonna start lightening it up. Let me zoom in a bit. So I just realized I'm doing all this work near the bottom and I don't even show it, so let's show some of that. This is the red car, and it's very red, as you can see. It's not even red in the reference photo, but so be it. That's how we do it. Now I'm gonna mix here. By the way, if you're wondering about my decision to make it red, it's just because it will contrast nicely with the blue. Okay, that was the only real reason I did it. Nothing too smart about it necessarily, but it works. I'm gonna add a couple of shadows here, hinting at some more cars, because I do see them. And this looks really, really nice. Now for the person. Again, not something I still feel like I'm working on. Let's get some orange in here and get the shape here fairly dark. The shirt is fairly gray and dark too. So here we go. And then the backpack that I missed the highlight, so I'll bring it back. So here's the backpack. Make it a little more blue. And then the lower body part. Should fix the proportions, so I'll do that while I'm at it. Nothing perfect, but it'll work. And then the shadow casting a little towards us, like so. Here we go. And I think with that we're really nearly done. I actually don't want to darken the street level, so I need to figure out how I show the zebra stripes or the crosswalk. Let me think, you know what? I know what I'm gonna do. Let's try and improvise something here. I'm gonna flip it like this, and I'll try darkening the bottom section around the crosswalk like this. And I don't care, I'm gonna blend this guy's shadow, but actually I don't mind that. Let's go like this. And then we're gonna cut through all of the lines like this. That's one, that's two. Let's give it a try, you know, whatever happens, happens. I like to try these new things, like so. Worst case, we're gonna learn what not to do. So here we go. Now let's flip it back so we can orient ourselves. And here we go, a bit of paint. Sorry you can't see. Here we go, a bit of paint here. This actually has a shadow. And I think what I'll do now is just blend that like that. See? I just blend that in, and then I can keep the light area at the back there. And you know what? I'm gonna even blend the right side of the crosswalk. I don't want it to be too, you know, strong. So here we go. A bit of water solves everything. This one will flow a little better. And let me rearrange everything. And I think the biggest concern here was to avoid a harsh line here. So I make sure that I keep blending that edge so that I don't get a harsh edge there. And I think with that, we're almost done. So what I'm gonna do now is allow this to dry and then come back and we'll add a bit of, you know, rigger brush kind of details, and I think it's gonna end up beautiful. So now we have a piece that's fairly interesting, but it's not crazy detailed, and a lot of the interest is down here below. So just as a comment for myself, you know, if I want to improve for next time, I'll probably maybe increase the focus on this lower section. For me, for next time, that's a tip. So I learn a lot from these. Doing these quick paintings can teach you a lot. Now what I want to do is just bring back this guy's shadow that got deleted in the process. The shadow is facing towards us like this. So that's that. Now it's our responsibility to turn this into a finalized piece. I use certain means to do that, like small details that I do with the rigger brush. Maybe I bring back some highlights using this pen. There are actually some wires running here that I love. I don't want to overdo the effect, and it's mostly in the shadows. So we'll have to find the right balance. Usually my go-to is to add them in. What I'll actually do is I'll take this white gel pen. This is a Uniball white gel pen. That's the name, and it's a really good one. I got this, it's a Signo, because everyone keeps asking me about this one. It's a really good one. I recommend you check it out if you like this kind of thing. Let me zoom in a bit. So with just a few small touches, you can add a lot of interest to this. So just a bit of a highlight for the head, a bit for the backpack. There is a highlight on his hand, and then a bit of this. So we're done with this figure. There is a bit of a light spot here. The headlights here are very light, and then we get this shape you can see here. So adding that in can really help to bring out some interest. Then we have a bit of these around here. We do have, I don't know, a bunch of, whether it's awnings or something that reflects the light, there is a bit of that here. So I want to put that in. I'm looking for a space that's generally empty to do these kinds of things. I'm actually gonna make this taller. I don't know why. And I'm gonna have one here, but when it goes above the existing line of buildings, I'm gonna make it dark. So I don't know, that's a thing that can create an interesting effect of contrast. And then we're gonna connect these just very gently. And I don't know where it connects here, but I don't even want to really show it. So just very light kind of thing. I'm trying not to do the obvious things lately, so who knows. What else? We can add the mirror here, just a bit of a highlight to hint that it's there. There are a lot of reflected lights on the windshield. You can start adding in all these small bits, but you don't need too much to create the impression you want, so I don't want to overdo it. I think actually this one is done. It looks good. I can add a bit of a highlight here on the side of the curb. And a bit of lines just to lead us into the scene like this. Then we have the stop line for the cars. So like this one I messed up, but that's fine. I can just go like this and get rid of it. I wanted it to go like that, but in any case, I'm gonna bring toilet paper. And this happens to me a lot, so I just use a piece of tissue or toilet paper, get rid of it. And if you wanna bring back the area we quote unquote lost, you just get more paint and you just go over it in the shadow here. And that's it, we're done. So yeah, I think this one is honestly done. Sometimes I don't know, you know, a lot of people say they have the problem of not knowing when to stop. I used to have a different problem of not knowing what to add in. So I don't know, it's a problem, it's a blessing. Whatever is fine with me. I actually like the way this looks now and I'm actually gonna let it go. Let's do this kind of thing. Let's go like this, just up top to show there's something here. And I just remembered before we wrap it up, I usually forget to remove the tape, and I know a lot of people enjoy this, so let's see what this one looks like with the clear, clean frame. So here we go, another side. This tape isn't the best, so we have a bit of leaking here, but overall I think it did the job. I actually used the hairdryer to speed up the drying process. And here we go, final result. I hope that clear frames gives you a better look at it. You could add some details to this building with dry brush. I chose not to because it's so high up there. I prefer the misty, kind of mysterious blended look. And let me show it to you up close. So I hope you enjoyed this one, and I hope you like that end result. Use it, do your own take on it, and send me the result. I'm curious to see it. And now we can truly wrap up this video. Thank you so much. I hope you enjoyed watching me tackle this kind of a scene. I've been doing these scenes many times before in the past, and you have to realize that if you've been having a hard time, you need to do this over and over again. Different scenes, different shapes, and slowly you will figure it out. Every new scene you tackle is a new challenge, and again, look at it as attempt number 1 out of 10, out of infinite. You can try the same scene again and again until you get it, okay? So I want to thank you so much once again. If you enjoyed this one and you like my approach, be sure to check out my new frustration-free watercolor course. Link in the description box below, especially if you're struggling with the letting go and enjoying the process and just expressing yourself and having fun. I also will link down below my beginner's drawing course if that's something you're struggling with, and I hope you give these a try and let me know what you think in a comment down below. The feedback so far has been really, really good, so I'm quite excited for this. And with that being said, we're going to wrap it up, and I will see you again in the next one real soon.